Hey, Tony Gaston here, popping in for a little quick chat on degrading black women. I received an email, and I fortunately was able to see it, of a young lady who wrote in. And a lot of times I see emails and I don't respond to them because it's in the support email, which is not my email address. I just have access to it, so I don't want to disrupt the system and respond to it, and then you get a double or a triple response. And so I didn't respond, but I did see it. And I've been getting, messages and stuff like that from people. But one young lady, she reached out and she said, Tony, what are we to do? It's a lot of men online that's, beating up on black women and calling us ugly, calling us, overweight, obese, she said, calling us, like less than and all of this. And I see it happening, and I've even been accused of the same thing. Anybody who actually watches my videos and watches more than one video will see what my mission is: to uplift and to inspire people. And I talk on life, love, and business. My small business Saturdays, my Sunday sermon, which is general motivation, my Fridays, which is man to man, and then answering questions from the email. So I don't look to ever degrade someone or put a black woman down or put a woman down, period. But even more so, black women, because right now we have men out there who are several men of color. You also have men who are not of color who are in these different spaces, this red pill, this MGTOW, that, and giving these strategies to men to get over on women. And now a lot of the black men that give these strategies and stuff like that date outside their race anyways. They don't even like black women, but because they may be of color, they may attract a large audience of color. And it all stems from self-hate. And that's why you have to realize, and you got to be able to take things like, if I get an email of a woman accusing me of race baiting, or a man accusing me of man bashing, or a woman accusing me of trying to make women feel less than to make money off of them, I always evaluate the source. And I know who I am, and I know who sent me, and I know what I'm called to do. And I know my full body of work, whereas this person may have one video. And I also realize, and I talked to my wife about this because, she sees the emails too. And she said to me, she said, some people they hurting and they broken. And they looking for anybody to blame. And being that you got a platform and you got a voice, you are easy target. So they blame their problems, their failures, and the fact that they feel less than, they blame it on you. Without even realizing your message is not to make anybody feel less than, but to educate people so that they know what they deserve and they know who they are. And I did a video the other day called He Don't Want You. And it was very hard to do. It was very hard to do. It was very hard to title it that, because I know there will be people who will take that title and run with it. And they look at it like I'm saying the woman isn't good enough. Which, when you listen to the message, what I'm saying is this man is not good enough, and he's not worth your time. He's not worth your stress. He's not worth your tears, you crying. Understand that this man does not want to be with you, and stop giving him chance after chance after chance. Stop putting up with him, because this is not your man. You're holding somebody else's man. Go on about your business. Set your standards. And anybody with common sense and who are looking to, receive a message instead of just critique a message, they can easily tell that. So while you may have 100 people that get it, you're gonna have 3, 4, 5 that don't. And a lot of times what happens is that 3, 4, 5 will disrupt you. It'll break you down. It'll throw you off. And we pay attention to that. And the same thing goes when you look out here into the world and you see these men that are degrading black women and that are telling women, oh, you are a 4, on the scale of 1 to 10, or you a 6, which a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 40. In school, a 40 would be a F, a bad F. And so people equate it like that. And they say, wow, I'm a F, essentially. You know, a person at least kind of want to be called a 7. And in school, that's still a C. And so, but at least it's like, man, okay, I'm a 7. I got a little room I could grow, but I'm almost there. But this is the thing. It's all rooted in self-hate. And when you look at these men, you know, a lot of them, you can always look and tell their issues. You can look and kind of see what's going on with them. And I don't see many of them because I don't make a habit of watching people. Because for one, I just don't want to muddy up my spirit. So if something is not edifying me, if it's not helping me grow, I don't care to watch it. So I may watch a minute or 2 minutes, 5 minutes at the absolute most. And that's just for research purposes because somebody sent me the video. And I just want to be able to understand what people are talking about if somebody keep, you know, sending me a video. But I can't sit there and entertain it and indulge it because it just kind of, it's feels like it's defiling my spirit. It's disgusting. And here's the thing. Some of these men, they out to hurt. They are out to hurt women. Like when I just naming the thing, he don't want you, it bothered me. Like I cringe just because I don't ever want anybody to feel inadequate or insufficient. But I knew I had to do that so that people would get the message, because, and there's science to that. There's science to that. And I remember reading about that a long time ago. Like my dad's book is titled 8 Mistakes Women Make in Relationships. The reason why it's titled that is because him as a man dealing with women, dating women, marrying women, can see the mistakes that a woman makes. And it's easier for us to see the mistakes somebody else makes than it is for us to see the mistakes we make. So now he could just as easily write 8 mistakes men make in relationships. But a woman will be able to tell him better the mistakes he's making than he would know. Because sometimes we make a mistake and we don't even know it. So that's why you see men speaking to women more than men speaking to men, because women are asking men, how do men operate and what do men think, more than women are asking women, how do men think? Because when a woman goes to a woman, she typically sees that this woman dealing with the same issues she's dealing with men. So this woman does not always have answers for her. So that's why I have tens of thousands of messages from women about men. And it's women online who teach love and relationships, but I have tens of thousands of messages from women. And so if a man is insecure, if a man is immature, if a man is not living on a level he should be living on, meaning married and faithful, and he's giving any type of life advice, then it's gonna be skewed. It's gonna come from a place of inadequacy. It's gonna come from a place to where he's off-centered, because the complete representation of being stabilized before you give any type of relationship advice is to be in a relationship. Because you can give advice as a single person. You can give advice as a single person and it can be spot on. It could be amazing. But that advice is only what not to do. When you get into a relationship and you make it work, that introduces you to a whole new level of advice and understanding, because now you know what not to do from your failures, but now you know the recipe for success from you making this relationship work. So a lot of times when you see these men who are giving advice online on relationships to men or to women, most of the time you don't see a wife. You never hear about a wife. You never see a wife. And that's why the insight, the advice is skewed, is jaded. It's coming from a place of anger or frustration or self-hate, or hate towards this other gender. And it's empowering these men who are listening because they want the upper hand. I heard a gentleman say, I don't want the field to be level, I want the advantage. And that sounds good for sports, but if that's your mentality, you're also going to take that into relationships, and a lot of men take that into relationships. And so men want the advantage. And it comes from a place of weakness because I was there, so I know exactly. I was an absolute dog, and that was in a place of weakness. Now, my wife having a say-so, her having an opinion, her calling a shot like, no, I don't think we should do that. That don't bother me as a man. That doesn't bother me as a man because I know she has a mind. And I know that she needs to use her mind and that her mind is an asset to me. But today we have this thing to where these men who come from a place of weakness, they want a woman to shut up and sit down. They want a woman to quote unquote stay in her place. And they define the role and the place of a woman. But what you have to realize is these men are broken. These men are lost. These men are hurting. These men are confused. And they're calling it being an alpha male. And then the men who listen are in the same space. But what you have to understand is that there are a plethora of men who can see right through it. There are a plethora of men who see that because, see, one thing about it, men know men. So, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's no real man, like no men that you talking about, that you see online talking about all this stuff, none of them say my name. None of them come to me. I done seen somebody say my name 1 or 2 times, but men know men. So a man could read a man, and he could tell, even though I'm talking like this, he could tell that if I feel threatened, if I feel at risk, he could tell that I lay him down, that I put him 6 feet under, just by the tone in my voice, just by the way I look at the camera. He could tell when he listened to my story and he understand that I transition from the streets. He know what come with the street life, and he knows that never really leave you. You make money legally, but the mindset you had to go into to be a hustler, it never really leave you. That's why when you know how to earn money legally, but you got a different work ethic than the average person because of what you had to learn in the streets. And they also know that you had to be ready for it to go down at any moment. So real recognize real, and fake recognize the real too. A replica know an original. And so these men, they don't say my name because they don't know what kind of smoke gonna be in the city. Whether that's gonna be defamation and their whole channel, their whole existence is deleted from lawyers, or whether it's gonna be defamation in the court of law, or whether it's gonna be laid down because somebody had a bad day. Like, men know men. And so we level a respect toward each other on average. Sometimes you're gonna have internet gangsters that they're just gonna talk reckless and say people names all kind of reckless online, and it's just because they just feel like there's no repercussions ever. But you never know what state a person gonna be in. That's why I don't speak names. So if the shoe fit, the man gonna know that shoe fit for him, but he can't say I said his name. But if the shoe fit, he gonna know. But anything else, he just assuming. And I don't say names because you never know where a person at. And even though I want to hold people accountable, I don't want to send nobody to their deathbed, meaning suicidal, what have you. I don't want to, and I don't want nobody who may be crazy to come for me, because then it's smoke in the city. We both in trouble. And I got a wife and kids to think about. So I'm mindful of that. So what I try to do, instead of attacking the messenger, instead of going off on them, I try to talk to the people who are being affected by the message. And this is what I want you women to understand. And the reason why I'm saying degrading black women, I know it's going to be Hispanic women, Asian women, white women talking about, oh, all women. No, the question comes from a black woman about black women, so I'm addressing black women. And if you white, if you Hispanic, if you Asian, if you whatever else you is, purple, green, blue, you're not a black woman, and you cannot disregard or discount the experience of a black woman in this world. Because anywhere you go in the world, to be darker is seen as bad, is seen as worse. Anywhere you go in the world, the dark people were slaves. So the plight of a black woman is different than any other woman. It's different, even though Hispanic women ain't got it all sweet. Even though Asian women and white women might not have it sweet, the plight of a black woman is different than any other woman because of her skin complexion. And we did not make it that way. The powers that be made it that way. And so that's what you have to realize and understand. And we can't keep hollering about all lives, when there's a group that is suffering disproportionately. And that is the black woman. And when you look at the hierarchy, the black woman is strategically placed on the absolute bottom in society. I just was coaching a client who was a black woman. She's from Africa. And she was talking to me about how on her job, she working in this company and they had a trip to France. Her job, which was all white people or Asian people, they didn't want her to go to France. So they didn't put her name on the list to go to France. But one of the stipulations to go to France was they had to get this passage and they had to translate it into French, in perfect French. She's the only French speaker. So then they all came to her to ask her to translate this passage into French for them. Her boss, who was going on the trip, who didn't want her to go on the trip, wanted to use her greatness, her excellence. Being a black woman who speaks 4 languages, they wanted to use her to translate that so that they could get the approval to go on the trip to France, but did not want to take her. And this right here happens disproportionately. It may happen to all races, but this happens disproportionately to black women. And now today we have black men standing on the neck of black women. And see, this is the thing. What a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people think I'm the pot calling the kettle black. But when you really listen to my message is to enlighten women and men. When I'm talking to men, my message is to enlighten people so that they don't suffer from the tricks, from the games. That's what my message is. If that makes you feel bad, then that is your perception. But when you listen to the message, see, a lot of time we can't control how a person takes something, how they receive it. But when you listen to the message, you will never hear me say, black women, y'all are unruly, y'all are disrespectful, y'all are unattractive, y'all are overweight, you will never hear me say that. You will never hear me put a black woman down and lift up a woman of another race. You'll never hear me, nowhere in my message will you hear me say that. I will explain differences, but I would never say one is better than the other. And in a lot of cases, in most cases, when I do have to do that, I will tell the difference, because I've been with black women all my life and I never been cheated on by a black woman to my knowledge. I never caught a black woman cheating on me. When I dealt with a Hispanic woman, she was cheating with me on a black man. And when he found out, because I told him, because we didn't know, we were sitting talking and she walked by and he was like, oh yeah, that one chick right there. Well, ooh, I be And I was like, really? Me too. We like the Superman meme, the meme where the Superman or Spider-Man and they pointing at each other. We pointing at each other. That was my experience with a Hispanic woman. My experience with a white woman in college, She slept with 5 of my black teammates. I never once experienced that with a black woman. And so so when I make comparisons and I draw a parallel, for my experience, it's been different and more pure. But I'm still not, even then, not going to say a black woman is superior to a white woman, or a Hispanic woman or a black woman is better, because that's putting the other women down. And I don't believe in putting any of God's children down, but I'm sharing my experience. And so this is what I need you to understand. When you really start to evaluate these messages that's coming from these men, and that's the sad part today. We have black men beating up on black women and standing on the shoulders, standing on the neck of black women and trying to suppress and degrade black women. And this is what a lot of people call me the pot calling the kettle black, because my audience consists of a lot of black women. And so they say, well, Tony, you telling black women what they want to hear to make money off of them. And I'm not sure if those people actually listen to my message, because to tell somebody what they want to hear would sound like, hey, you are amazing. You are perfect. You have nothing to work on whatsoever. And when you go out tomorrow, you're going to meet your husband tomorrow. Any day, you are going to absolutely 100% meet your husband this year. And when you get married, it is going to be perfect. You're not even going to have a real argument. It's going to be smooth, because you're that amazing, and you're going to attract someone who is perfectly ready, and he is not going to test you. He is not going to try you. He's never going to disrespect you. You're never going to have to leave him. And that marriage is just going to flow. That is telling someone what they want to hear. To the idiots who write me and say, you tell black women what they want to hear so that you don't have to deal with, so that you can make money off of them. Those are people who never listen to my message, and the message that they listen to, it stepped on his toes, or it stepped on her toes, because they was on the wrong side of it. They was the one playing the game. But the women who listen to my message, what they hear is, listen, you first need to love you, and you need to work on you. Brain, brand, body. Brain, feed your mind. Work on your relationship with God. Get some knowledge. Your brand. Build your career, whether that's a career working in corporate or whether that's entrepreneurship. And even if you're working for somebody else, create something that you can't be fired from. Even if that's just a blog that you write on 3 times a week. Build your brand. And then your body. Keep your legs closed until you know that you're in a situation and this your husband. Protect your body. Feed your body the right type of foods. Work out daily or 3 times a week and take care of your body. If it's any weight goals that you have, you want to put on 5 pounds of muscle, you want to lose 5 pounds of excess weight, that's what you need to focus on. Brain, brand, body, the 3 B's. And when you meet a man, even if he's the devout man of God, this is what you finna have to deal with. He gonna try you like this, he gonna try you like this, he gonna try you like that. So most of the women who listen, the truth, who listen to my message, the truth that I'm sharing hurts them before it helps them. It hit them hard. It hit them hard. And they say, man, Tony, that was a little depressing, man. So you mean to tell me I'm going to have to be tested, that any man, even a man of God, going to slip up and do wrong and test me? And I said, absolutely, because he's a human. So how is that telling a woman what they want to hear? Because it ain't what they want to hear, because we want to hear everything finna be smooth, peaches and cream. And so, but that is to those people. Now, here's the other thing. Never in that will I directly and purposefully try to demoralize and make a woman feel bad about herself, about her looks, her weight, or any of that, because that does not help. by demoralizing somebody. That's not encouraging. So I'll let you know these are the hurdles you're gonna face, but this is how you jump a hurdle. And after jumping these hurdles, there's a finish line and a prize. But instead of saying, here go a brick wall you're gonna run into and you can't get through it. There's no way to get through it. You just gonna keep running into the brick wall and until you die. And that's what these men out here doing. And what they doing is they preparing these grown boys. They doing a military of grown boys, raising up these troops of grown boys to go out there and suppress women, to make women feel less than, black women in particular, to make women feel less than, and to put them down and to control them, to put them in a box, put them in their place that is defined by that man, as if he is God and he get to say what this black woman's place is. And that is ignorant. And if this was the old days, if this was the Bible days, I'd be out there leading the front line to get some other kind of justice. But we under the New Testament where it ain't an eye for an eye and it ain't, stoning at the gates. So now we got to move a little differently. So all I can use is words. But listen to me. That right there, that burned me up. That burned me up because it breaks us apart. It tears us down. It breaks us up. And so this is what I'm trying to tell every black woman that's on the sound of my voice. I'm finna get ready to go. This is what I need you to understand. Do not listen to these idiotic, broken, hurting, lost, ignorant men. Stop giving them your view. Once you watch one video, that's all you need to ever see to know what their message is and what their message talking about. If that message right there was disrespectful and degrading, never watch another one. Some of y'all, you're a glutton for pain. And so you keep going back and you watching this stuff and you telling yourself you watching them so that you know what to look out for. That's exactly what I'm telling you, what to look out for. So if you go over there and you trying to hear what to look out for, but you leaving feeling depressed, degraded, and dejected, and you never get built up, you don't have a plan, then that's what you're gonna continue to suffer. So as a lady came on my comments the other day talking about, Tony, this not directed to you, but what people saying about these men, it's like, if it ain't directed to me, then don't put it in my comments, because I already know what these men doing. No, they not providing a solution. The solution is to love you and to work on you. You will attract what you become when it is your season. That is the solution. It's not rocket science. Stop chasing love. Stop looking for a man. Stop sniffing booty of a man and focus on your money. Get the 6 figures. Get the 7 figures. Then worry about a man. Get your life where you want to be. Are you where you want to be in your brain, brand, and body? If not, get there. Then you ain't got to worry about a man, because he finna be knocking on your door. He finna be knocking on your door when you get there. And a lot of times you think you're there and you're not there. And so keep working on you. That is the solution. But listen, when these men talking, what you got to realize, a lot of these men is gay. And not in a derogatory, I'm not using that word in a derogatory term. I'm using it in the literal sense of the word. A lot of these men like men. The main ones, they like men. The biggest ones, they like men. Any man that's going to come and just beat up on a woman, her looks, her weight, her income level, and not uplift, encourage her, and speak life into her, even while telling the truth. You could tell the truth in love. When you tell the truth with the intent to hurt, because you're trying to win an argument, you like men. Or the other issue is they hate themselves. So you have to understand, if a man take and put a black woman down and lift up women of other races, that is from self-hate. If that's a black man, he hates his own race because he has bought into the propaganda of supremacists who have made him feel less than, who have made him feel that his race as a black race is inferior, is ignorant, is lazy, is rambunctious, is coons, is wild, is untamed, need to be chained, need to be trained, need to be all of this. All of that propaganda that has been spewed through the media and the messaging and the systemic racism, He has bought into that, and that is why he's beating up on black women, these men, and there's multiple of them out there raising up now, because now this other thing about men. Men gonna chase money. When I started doing relationship coaching, there was no other black relationship coach. There wasn't a white relationship coach. I started in 2007. Somebody gonna come in my comments talking about a such and such replacement. The gentleman who got caught cheating on his wife, talking about I'm a replacement. I was here 5 years before he even thought about getting started. That's what a lot of people don't realize. I was here 2 years before Steve Harvey made giving relationship advice popular in 2009 with his book. My book came out in 2007. That book had earned me $300 by the time Steve Harvey. Over 2 years, I had probably made, realistically, I made about $500 to $1,000 from that book in 2 whole years. It was no money in that. But I was out there because that's what God called me to, and that's what my heart was. And a lot of people don't realize and understand that. Is that, to my knowledge, I was the first. Now, you had pastors who probably had did a sermon or two, like the late, great Miles Monroe, Dr. Tony Evans. I've heard mention of them doing a sermon. They hadn't dedicated their life to healthy relationships, though. That was just a series on relationships, on the sermon. But I'm talking about writing a book, going on tour with no money being made. No money being made. I was working at the same time 40 hours a week. And then Steve Harvey came and made it look cool. And then so the thing about men, if they see the appearance of money, they going to start doing what they think going to make money. So when they see a man blow up online from beating up on black women with his words, then it's going to be a whole bunch of other men start doing the same thing, because they start saying, oh, this get a lot of views. So then this going to bring a lot of clients, and then I'm going to be able to monetize off of the pain and the brokenness that I'm causing. Not the pain and brokenness that I'm trying to heal that was caused by society. I'm going to be able to monetize off of the pain and brokenness that I'm causing. That's what they're saying to themselves. And see, it's a fine line, and somebody without discretion, they'll lump us all in. They'll throw me right on in there with them. Because they're not listening to the message objectively. They listen to critique and criticize because they done came to my page and believe that they believe any man that's going to give an uplifting message to a woman is pandering and that he's doing it for money. But let me tell you what happened. I'm going to tell y'all this, and I'm going to explain this to y'all. My number one selling course is the Life Coach Certification course. That has nothing to do with relationships. It has nothing to do with relationships. My money, the bulk of my money is made from what I teach about business and branding. So I have the Life Coach Certification course, and I have the Birth Your Book course, how to write your book, how to write your story. I have an Entrepreneurship with Purpose course. I have how to become a speaker course. You see, I have a social media mastery course. I have a YouTube course. I have an online courses course, meaning teaching how to do an online course. I just named off 7 courses right there. That is where the bulk of my money is earned, through me teaching how to build a business, how to build a brand. And the Life Coach Certification course right now is $800. So if 1,000 people sign up to become a life coach, to learn how to be a life coach, what is 800 times 1,000? That's 800,000 if my math is right. Right? Is that right? I ain't got my other phone. I ain't got no calculator on me. What's 800 times 1,000? So for all of the people who sold in my pocket word by how I'm making money, now you know that I teach how to do what I've done in building a personal brand, and it have nothing to do with love and relationships. And in these courses, these are the courses that a lot of men take, because men trying to change their life. It's a man who texts me about every other day building his brand. Several men texting me every day, every other day about building a brand, how to be an author, how to be a speaker, how to be a coach, because they want to live a positive lifestyle and they want to do it the right way. They want to do it with integrity. And so that's where my brand is gender neutral. So anybody who come in here who trying to lump me in with these men that you see that's beating up on black women, you got the wrong one. You got the wrong one. And to the women that's out there, stop listening. And if you're gonna listen, you got to chew the meat, spit the bones. What I mean by that, you got to know, you got to be able to see this man's insecurity. You have to be able to see this man's ignorance. You got to be able to look at this thing. I'm trying to find a calculator. I already know what it is, but sometimes I just be needing to do the math. You need to be able to see what this person is suffering from. So there you have it. If you want to teach an online course, something that you do, then that's a way you could be an entrepreneur. And so that's what I do. So for me, my love and relationship talks is like charity. I see it like charity. YouTube will pay you, but when YouTube pay me, that's not even 20% of my income. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that ain't even 20% of my income. At the absolute, if it's just a crazy month where they just took and they sent my videos all over the world, it may come to 30 to 40% of that month's income. You got a whole nother 60% of earnings. And that's just for that particular month, like during the holiday season when they send your videos. So a lot of times people don't understand, like when they will look at this relationship coach who sell relationship books. My relationship books don't make me no money. Don't make me no money. I can't even do nothing with them checks. Them checks be so low. I can't even do nothing with them checks. This woman's influence, this with a top 5 publisher. See, what you don't realize is the gentleman who was caught cheating on his wife, his books are self-published. So all his money go to him. So when he sell a relationship book, 30% go to Amazon, 70% go to his pocket. When you got a publishing deal, 85% of the profits, which you don't get to see, you can't calculate, it goes to the publisher. The benefit of going with a publisher, though, is my book is on the shelves of Walmart and Target and Barnes and Noble. Whereas a self-published author, their books is only on their website and on Amazon and then on the e-readers like iBooks and Kindle and Nook. But when you self-publish, you make a lot more money if you have a large following and you selling a lot of books. So if your book is $20 on Amazon, you're going to walk away from that book with $12 to $14 if you sell through Amazon. So if you have 1 million plus followers online and you promoting a self-published book, you could sell 1,000 books in a month and sometimes more. So 1,000 times 12, that's $12,000 a month you can earn. And then if you only talk about love and relationships on YouTube, then your channel is gonna go viral. If you only talk about that. And if you play the game, meaning you use a thumbnail, a custom thumbnail, your channel is gonna go viral. You keep the time limit under 10 minutes, your channel is gonna go viral. Look at where we at right now, at 40 minutes. Look at my video, no custom thumbnail. So you understand, I'm not even playing the YouTube game. I do videos that are 30 minutes, an hour long, some longer than that. I'm not even playing the YouTube game because I'm not here focused on the money. So that's one thing I want y'all to understand is stop saying my name when you talking about these other people that is intentionally just trying to milk the system. I heard a man talking about one of these guys one of the big guys who beating up on women and degrading them. He said, this man used to be in my comments all the time. And this man's whole brand had nothing to do with what he doing today. His whole brand was about telling men what kind of cologne to wear, how to dress, like image consulting type stuff. He was like, this man ain't even on no relationship stuff like this, all a gimmick, this all a ploy. From the time the world knew me, I've been teaching on love and relationships since I was 22 years old. How old are the men that you see going viral? Since I was 22 years old, I became an author on love and relationships. We not the same. I dedicate my life to leveling the playing field, because I see my story the same way I see Apostle Paul when he was Saul persecuting Christians, and then he had a run-in with Jesus and he became Apostle Paul. That's how I see my story, because I was persecuting women. And then when I went to Christ and rededicated my life, I began being used by God to enlighten women to the games that men play. And there was no monetization strategy. I published my book in 2007. I didn't get to leave my job until 2011. And when I left my job, it wasn't because of my earnings. It was because I had an investor that gave me a year's worth of salary from my job, gave me a year worth of salary to bridge the gap so that I can build my business. And then even after leaving my job in 2011, I still could not make enough money to live. I had to build my business. And then my money started to come from not relationship coaching. It still was, not talking about relationships, because I wasn't on YouTube like that. But it came from speaking engagements to where I'm talking on business, I'm talking on branding, I'm speaking to the NBA on manhood, I'm talking on stuff that ain't got nothing to do with love and relationships. And that's how I was being fed. And then I was consulting, $2,500, teaching people how to write a book. So see, a lot of people have stuff confused and they think they know what they talking about. They think they know what they talking about, and they think they know somebody's story just because they see them online talking about love and relationships, and don't realize that for me, that's almost charity. That's almost charity compared to my income level. And so this is what you have to understand is I build business. I don't just try to milk and monetize off of somebody's insecurity and brokenness. What I'm trying to do in that space is uplift. And that's why so many men don't like me, because they say I'm pandering to women. Because I see the way the world is breaking down black women and women in general, but more so black women. And me being a black man, I take that personal. I see the way the world has its foot on the neck of black women. And so therefore, that's why I come to uplift and empower and say, yes, some of this truth is going to hurt. But the truth will hurt you before it help you. But if you get the truth, it'll help you grow. And so when you go and you hear these men that's intentionally getting pleasure and joy out of degrading black women, you have to be able to see the sickness in this man. You got to be able to see the insecurity. Look, the darker you are, if you dark skinned, meaning my color or lighter, if you brown, people call me, oh, Tony, you brown skin. That's how brainwashed we have been. That we differentiate between the different types of brown. Because we've seen advantages for lighter brown. And my brown could get advantages that someone who may be darker might not get. And so now some people who are darker may be upset and angry with people who are lighter, even though those people who are lighter did not get to choose their color. But they inadvertently benefit from being lighter complected. That is very true in this world. And a lot of time white people don't believe it. Oh, that's not true. Yes, it is very true. My wife is light skinned. I thought she was Hispanic. And then I found out that she black and Indian, both Jamaican, black Jamaican, Indian Jamaican, but she black and Indian, and Indian from India, not like Indians like in Florida, Cherokee, Seminole. And so Indian from India, and she black and Indian. Her mama is darker than me, probably a shade darker or two, and look like from Africa, Now it's different shades. So even sometimes black people from Africa, they look down on black people from America because it might be other mixtures that went through us before we got to this place. So I probably got some white somewhere down in my line from the slave trade and all of that. Whereas it's some people from Africa who it's not mixed at all. It's always blend dark skinned black people in their lineage. never a mix with any light-skinned people, any French, any Italian, any English, any European, any nothing. And so that causes division. So we so brainwashed that we hate each other based on the complexion of our skin. And so now I see that black women, and the darker you are, the more issues that you have to go through. And I saw this. My wife came to work on the same job that I work on. And my wife is smart, but it's not that evident. It ain't that evident. There was a white woman who was the boss. There was a dark-skinned black girl. And my wife, she know this now, but she understand too that she didn't choose her color. There was a dark-skinned black girl. She was probably she was a couple shades lighter than like this here remote. You know, so she was dark skinned. And then there was a black girl who was about my color. They were psychology majors. They were psychology majors. One of them had her degree already. She was older, and she had her master's or was finishing her master's, the dark-skinned black girl. The white lady was the boss. She was white. She was probably 5 foot tall and probably about 350 pounds. She never had makeup. She never did her hair. In the white race, she would be discriminated against. And they use a word for that type of white woman, which I don't even want to repeat, but it deal with the trailer. And it deal with the trailer, or it deal with trash. Just how they'll call us the N-word. White people discriminate against themselves too, but based on income level. There's classism with whites. And based on who you around. So if you're a white person and you date black, you outcast. So this white woman, when my wife came to work this job that I was working at, she said she didn't know it was the same job because they used to advertise in our school newspaper. Within a couple months, here I had already been here, finished my training. You go from $8.50 an hour to $9.50 an hour when you finish all your training. The white lady took and promoted my wife immediately to behavioral specialist. My wife, inside of 6 months, her pay was $13.50. And my wife is a biomedical science major. She was doing behavior programs that the black girl who was my color was there to working at this job for her major, because this her major. She going to be a behavioral scientist, a behavioral specialist. And the other black girl, the darker black girl, she going to do that. This lady choose my wife to do their job. She take and put them above her, give her $4 more in pay than me an hour. $10.50, $11.50, $12.50, $13.50. My wife making $4 more an hour than me, and she just started the job. And I'm in college getting a degree just like her, and I'm further along in college than her. So the lady could have had me do it, but she could have had them two black girls do it, and the lady didn't even know what my wife could do. Now, granted, my wife did become the better worker. So the lady started taking and having this black girl, the dark-skinned black girl, who was darker skinned, who was a bachelor's or master's in behavioral sciences, she would have my wife edit her papers. The white lady would say, hey, you, give your papers to Cherie so she could edit them. Now, granted, Cherie reads 600 words a minute, and she a straight A student. So she is extremely smart. And so that did show up. But when she got that job, it was no way in area to show smarts before she got promoted. That showed later. And granted, what would take the other young lady hours to do, Cherie could do in 10 minutes. So it did kind of, we was able to say like, okay, yeah, you is gifted and talented at, you is smart. But still, You shouldn't have this job now. This because you're light skinned. And this is my girlfriend, but I'm telling the truth. I'm like, you're light skinned. Hey, because you're light skinned. Because especially in Florida, we used to it. So this is the thing. What you're gonna realize is a lot of time when you see these men, they my color or darker. They already dealing with self-hate. We all deal with self-hate. If you black, you dealing to some degree, you dealing with self-hate. You dealing with some type of insecurity where you questioning your value and your worth. If you in America. I can't speak for other countries because I never lived there. But definitely if you're in America, and sometimes I coach people in other countries, black people in other countries, and it's the same thing. I done coach black people in France, black people in London, black people in South Africa, and sometimes it's the same thing. And so this what y'all have to understand. A lot of these black men that's beating up on black women, they hate themselves too. They hate themselves. They bought into propaganda from racist whites. It ain't all white people that feel that way. From my experience in the South, it's most of them. White people hate to hear that. White people hate to hear that. Typically, the women who follow me that's white, they know what I'm saying is true. And then the women who follow me that's white, that secretly are racist, they get offended by this type of message, and that's when they unfollow me. Because they feel like, oh, you race baiting. Anytime somebody tell their truth about their experience of being black in America, oh, you race baiting, oh, you causing division. No, ma'am, I'm telling my story. And excuse me if my truth offends your utopian made up reality because you've never been black in America. So excuse me if I offend you with my truth. If you was really a decent person, then you would respect my truth. And if your truth is different, then I'm gonna respect your truth. But that lets me know that you is a covert racist, because when I tell my truth about my experience in America, if you of another race or color and you get offended, that let me know exactly who you are. And I'm glad you're gone anyways. Bye. Didn't want you here anyways. Undercover agent. So listen to me. This is very real. And here is the thing. The white supremacists will take and beat down on the black man because he's a man. So, this is what they do. And look back to the beginning of time. They finna take this man and whip him. Boom. Ha, 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 ha. I was watching something on Prime, and I'm gonna get back to watching. They were showing the slave thing, and to my knowledge now, they were looking at the slaves. They lined up, and you know what? I'm gonna turn the ads off on this one because you can't even have ads when you're talking on real stuff like that anyway, because it's not advertiser friendly. I ain't gonna have no ads on this. So for all y'all who everything for money, you just want to make money. All you try to do is make money. Ain't even no ads on here. So how you feel now? How you feel now? And yes, from this here video, yes, could have probably made $40,000 in a year if it get enough views. But there ain't no ads on here. How you feel now? Yeah, hush. Cause God got me. I know God got me. I ain't got to work and pander for money. I'm gonna tell the truth, regardless of what it's gonna do. So listen, this man on here, they looking at the slave. He's like, yeah, I got this one right here. He said, yeah, I got this old boy right here, old Jimbo. You want to have your way with him? You want to have your way with him before you get him? And then the other white man, he said, well, no, I never touch my slaves like that. I don't violate my slaves like that. Basically what the man was saying is, do you want to bump this man in the booty before you buy him, or to see what it's gonna be like? That's what I understood from what he said. I was like, whoa. But I'm already knowing though, seeing what they did to Emmett Till, God rest his soul, and me knowing men and me knowing how it go down when you finna take somebody's life, and me seeing what go down, it ain't got to be written in the history book for me to know that these black men, when they was in slave days, was getting bent over and was getting violated, was getting sodomized by white men. It don't take me. It's not rocket science for me to know that was happening. And just like when you watch that movie Django, and these black men got to sit there and basically fight to the death for the entertainment of the white slave master. So guess what? From the beginning of time, the mission has been to take this strong race. And it's going to offend a lot of people, but it's the truth that we already know. But a lot of times when black women listening to these black men beat up them online, they forget the root of it. And sometimes you just think, oh, woe is me. I'm just being beat up on. What you have to realize is you can't listen to a fool. Why are you taking the word of a fool seriously when you know he's a fool? You know he lost. You know he insecure. Just look at him. Look at him and see. If he black, he already dealing with some form of insecurity, including myself, because I got a country accent. That made me insecure because anywhere I go, when I open my mouth, I was just with a whole group of white people yesterday in a suite at the hockey game. I'm at a hockey game. You know, the whole arena is white. I'm at a suite. I'm the only person of color in this suite, and there's 30 people in there. When I open my mouth, even though I sound country, and it's some white men that sound country, because I'm black, my country will be seen as dumb. Whereas a white man country may be seen as cute, funny, endearing. And so when I open my mouth, I'm already knowing they looking at me like, this another uneducated one. But then when they look me up, they see what I've done. Every white man who see me pull up in a foreign car, they ask me, do you play sports? I've never had a white man say, are you a doctor? Are you a lawyer? Every single time. Oh yeah, this is the reality. So all the white people that did not know, this is the reality. And I'm not here to lie to you. I'm the men who done asked me this, they popping up in my head right now while I'm talking. You some kind of ball player? You play sports? You a baseball player? And I said, no, I'm an author. Author? You write books? Yeah. What kind of books do you write? And I said, self-help, development books. Really? I said, yeah, and I'm a celebrity life coach to the top NFL, NBA players, boxers, Olympic gold medalists. Really? Are you kidding me? Wow. I said, yeah, so I essentially kind of like what Tony Robbins, you know who Tony Robbins is? Yeah, I know Tony Robbins, man. It's amazing. I do the same thing, just in my lane. Wow. Are you kidding me? They be shocked. They be shocked. But I ain't never got the question, do you write books? Are you an author? I mean, are you a lawyer? Are you a doctor? It's always, do you do music? Or you a ball player? Gotta watch the time. Got to coach in 20 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at this black man who beating up on you, you got to realize he done already been mentally sodomized. He done already been verbally sodomized. And so this has been the goal from the beginning of time, is you get the black man, you break him down, you rape him, you kill him in front of friends and family, you ostracize him, you alienate him, you beat him down, you disrespect him on the job, you make him do more work for less pay, you demoralize him, you break him down. When you do that, he is going to turn on his own. He's going to go to the bar, to the blacks only bar, just from the beginning. He's going to get drunk. He's going to kill a black man in a fight at the bar. Later, they're going to coalite, form coalitions, and one coalition is going to be against another coalition. So the Muslims, the Nation of Islam is going to be against the black Christians, and they're going to be at war. And then if somebody comes to some knowledge, then they may turn against each other inside of it. But the goal is, if you break down this here man, then he gonna destroy everything else. So when you break down the man, then if you break down the man, he's going to go home and he's going to be a drunk or he's going to be a drug addict. If he's overworked and underpaid on the job, he's going to start selling drugs. He's going to do illegal racketeering, running numbers, selling drugs, doing fraud. So we're going to get him by, he's going to impregnate his wife, but he's going to beat her the whole pregnancy. He's going to cheat on her the whole pregnancy. So then his kid's going to be broke, busted, and disgusted because their dad is a terrorist in his own house, essentially. And then the woman is going to be broken. She's going to be broken and she's going to be destroyed. And then she's going to beat on her kids. She's going to cuss them out. She's going to call them outside of their name. She's going to neglect them because all she wants is love from a black man. And so now, by us destroying the black man, we have destroyed the family structure. And when we destroy the black man, he will go out and destroy other black men. So they're going to form a gang. And they'll have some type of allegiance, some type of color. And then somebody else who wants to be the man, he's going to form one. So then somebody else going to form one. Somebody else going to form one. And so now we don't have to enslave them anymore. We don't need the KKK anymore. They're going to get in the streets of Chicago, of LA, of Miami, every city in America, and they're going to kill each other. They're going to kill each other. But in the midst of killing each other, there's going to be little girls and little boys that are killed as well by stray bullets. See, this was all the plan from the top. But see, a lot of time people forget and think, well, a lot of white people today, because it's not their plan, because they didn't put the plan in place, they feel like it don't exist. But they don't realize that it's a trickle-down effect. They don't realize that the stuff flow downhill. They don't realize that once this set in motion, it's finna keep going. They don't realize that. So they say, oh, this is all fake. This is not real. So now just in Florida, they just enacted this law that they can't teach about the systemic racism in school because they saying it's teaching black kids to hate their own country. But yet it's still going on. Yet it's still happening. But they say you can't talk about it. You can't teach that because these people, they want to make us believe that the pain and the suffering and the prejudice is all in our mind and it don't exist. And that's asinine. That's absurd. And so that's what you have to realize is when you see these black men that's beating up on black women, intentionally trying to hurt, not telling a honest truth that may sting a little bit until you fully digest the message and then it helps you grow, but intentionally trying to demoralize and to degrade black women. DM these men, everybody under the voice, DM this man and say, please stop hating black women because you hate yourself. And what's going to happen is when they head hit the pillow, that's going to ring over and over. You don't have to write a dissertation. You come up with the most powerful sentence that you have. It's people who write me. I know what side I'm on, but it's women, black women who write me and say, your goal is to make black women feel like they're not good enough. That's what they'll tell me. And it's probably because they either confuse my name with somebody else or they just lumping me in with somebody else. My whole thing is we all need to be growing. We all need to be getting better. And I have to speak to who listening. I got to speak to who coming to me, who asking questions. So I'm not going to do a video every day for men if men ain't listening to me and if men ain't asking me no questions. But I'm never going to try to directly and intentionally hurt somebody, hurt a woman. And the reason why is because I'm a real man. So I want to uplift and empower. Just like my wife, she have free reign. She have free reign. As long as she respect me, meaning that she not disrespecting me, trying to embarrass me in public, call me out of my name, talk down to me, talk to me like I'm dumb, inferior, or ignorant. As long as she respect me as a man, and as long as she faithful to me as a woman, she faithful, then she have free reign. My wife don't have to cook. She don't have to clean. She don't have to work no job. She could do what? She not a robot. It ain't, this is your place, cooking, cleaning, doing this, doing that, working on this job, doing this, doing that. My wife, she run the emails. She ain't touched them emails in 2 or 3 weeks. I've been in there every day answering the emails to the best of my ability. But she tired. She tied up. She with the boys. She up late. You know, it's summertime. She getting her some a different type of, because all throughout the school year, for them 180 days of school, she wake up at 5 a.m. every day. And a lot of people can't say that because some nights she don't get to go to bed till 1 or 2 o'clock. So she going off 3-4 hours of sleep. And for the whole school year, from August through May. So right now, she living different. She get to sleep in. So whatever she want to do, as long as she respect me, and cooking and cleaning is not a sign of respect. That's not a sign of respect. You can make it one if you want to, but that ain't respect. Talking to me like a human being, like I got sense, like I got a heart, that's respect. Being faithful to me, meaning not talking not cheating emotionally or physically with another man, that's respect. That's love. So if I got that, then I got what I need. It ain't about sliding down no pole and being no freak in no bedroom, because you're not a sex bot. You see what I'm saying? And so now I understand the role of a woman in the world based on what God has put in place for a woman. Not what I want from a woman. Not the role I want a woman to play to fulfill my voids, and to compensate for my insecurities. Not the role I want to give her, but the role that God has given her. And so I understand that now, and I respect that. And because of that, I don't want to belittle or break down. Now, let me tell you, when I did that video, He Don't Want You, I've been getting emails and DMs from women saying, Tony, I like this new confidence. That's not new confidence. I've always been confident in my message. It's just that on certain videos, the delivery needs to be different to reach the people who can't be reached by a video that is super cool, calm, and collected. Because some people, they're not going to love themselves and they're not going to change unless they're jolted, unless they're shook to their core. They're not going to hear you and wake up unless it sounds like sirens right in their ear in the middle of the night. They're not going to change. They're not going to wake up and smell the coffee. That's not my new way. I'm not finna be yelling and aggressive and, you know, all that right there, barking on every message, because that's not my style. But I understand that when you are teaching, you can't just teach one way. You got to teach different ways. So some messages like this that have a lot to unpack, it's long form. It's a long message. Some message that don't got a lot, it may be 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Some messages that I got to touch on very sensitive stuff that it's not advertiser friendly, it's demonetized. I don't turn the monetization on because I don't even want it to get hindered. And some message that I really want you to get the message, and I know that it's going to be naysayers and it's going to be people who just passing by. The first advertisement they see, they're going to click off and they're going to miss the rest of the message because they're not here to support me. And if they see that an ad on there, they say, oh, that's making him money, I'm gone. And they miss the message. And the message means more to me than the money because God got me. You see what I'm saying? And so this the thing. These videos also able to be embedded. It's on other people's blogs and other people's channels. I don't turn that off so that people could put this on their stuff. And some people will put it on their stuff and turn the advertisements on it and make money from it. You see what I mean? Because they motives is, that's where they motives at. They motives different. And so this is what I need you to understand. Is that you have to know who you are. You got to know where you stand. You got to know what you represent. And you can't let somebody make you feel bad about yourself. You can't let somebody talk you down. You can't let somebody beat you up with their words because they are broken, they are hurting, they are lost, they are confused. And you have to understand the overarching plan of the enemy. And when I say the enemy, I'm not meaning white people. I'm meaning the people who are at the top who are used. And in some of those places, that's going to be black people. In some of those places, it's going to be Asian people. It's black people in power who do the same thing that racist white people in power would do. Because they're being used by Satan
And sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with skin color. Everybody that's your skin color, that skin folk ain't kinfolk. Everybody that just because they look like you don't mean they on your side. It's a lot of black people who sympathize with the white race and white beliefs about blacks without even trying to understand that black people are products of our environment. That if you take and break somebody's leg and put them on a track to run a race, they're not going to finish at the same time or in the same way that somebody got two able, healthy legs. And a lot of times people not understanding of that. Oh, you don't have any excuses. You're not a slave anymore. That's so old. That's so long. No, it's a trickle-down effect. It's fathers raising sons. So if the daddy broken, the son going to be broken. And then if the son get broke, then his son going to be broke. And it's just going to trickle down until somebody break the generational curse. Until somebody break it. I'm breaking it. I'm breaking it. So that's how I was able to become a millionaire. Because I broke the mindset. I broke them chains that was placed on my mind by society. The chains that was placed on my mama and daddy mind. My mama and daddy didn't have these goals and these visions for me. They didn't even know this was possible. I showed them what's possible. Now I paid them $3,000 a month. My mama and my daddy. And my sister $2,000 a month. That's $8,000 a month. And I'm not an athlete. And I'm not a rapper. You see what I'm saying? So I broke the stereotype. So that's why when I meet a white person, when I meet a black person, when I meet an Asian person, and they find out what I do for a living and how I earn a living, and the level that God has blessed me on, they mind blown. Because it's not the typical route to success for anybody, let alone people of color. It shocks white men. It shocked Asian men. Because they like, man, I wish I ain't have to get up and go to somebody's job every day. And I could sit home and I could use my God-given gifts to earn a living. You can. You just got to figure out how to do it. Like I had to do it. And you got to activate. And you got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And you got to keep going. But you got to be living right and doing right by God. Now, you can't take that out of there. Because I could tell you, I could give you my blueprint, but I can't give you God's favor and blessings. But I do know that God's favor and blessings don't discriminate. If you get aligned and your heart is a heart after God's and you trying to do God work, God gonna take care of you. And depending on your industry, that might look different. In one industry, that might be $100,000 a year. Another industry, it might be $1 million a year. Another industry, it might be $100 million a year. You see what I mean? As long as your heart after God, you're gonna be taken care of. And people who don't believe in God, they still can make money, but that don't mean they got peace. That don't mean they got purpose. All right, now think about it. So listen to me. Stop feeling downtrodden. Stop getting beat up by these people online. Stop letting these people make you feel less than. Stop listening to these people. Stop giving these people, because the way the algorithm works, when you get them your view, now you just got it boosted further. You help the message get out. When you give them a view, you helping the message get out. And then when you comment, you double helping the message get out. So if you want to see a change, then decrease your viewership. Stop viewing it. But and then the people who want to be in it, they're going to help it grow. But then they're going to see a separation. And what they're going to see is they're going to see the person that they help grow. Because the person heart not in the right place, they're going to see the person just rub it all in their face. I mention stuff, earnings and things like that every now and then on a video to get a point across. But you ain't never seen one of my cars. You ain't never seen a tour of my house. You can't find a tour of my house. You can't find a tour of my closet, a tour of my wife's closet. I don't showcase and showboat and show off material possessions and monetary things. You see me living on my story. You see me at a hockey game yesterday. I'm going to the hockey game tomorrow. I was at the boxing match Saturday. I was at a boxing match the Saturday before that. I'm going to be at a boxing match this Saturday coming. You see me living, enjoying life, because we only get to do it once. But you don't see me showing you, oh, look at this right here car, this my baby. Yeah, this my car. You, hey, keep grinding, get on this here level, get you one of these cars. No, I got my cars for me. But see, these people who they heart in the wrong place and they doing it for the wrong reason, when they start to touching money, they audience gonna start to see it because they gonna show it. I see people who heart in the wrong place show screenshots of their bank account, show screenshots of their PayPal balance, show screenshots because they heart in the wrong place and all they trying to do is shine on a hater. You ain't never seen me post a screenshot of no bank account or no PayPal balance. The only time I showed a screenshot of money was for YouTubers who take my YouTube course so that they could see how the pay structure works and how it's monetized and how the business of YouTube works. That's the only time, and that's not public knowledge. It's people who in the course. And there's people who in the course who ain't even got to that part of it and didn't even know. Until I told the life coaches last night on the call, it was just some people who in the YouTube course didn't even get to that part of the course yet, where I share about the pay structure. But I share it with the life coaches about using their gift to reach more people by being a coach on YouTube. And I share it with them how YouTube monetizes it. It's not me monetizing it. It ain't my business. And guess what? If I just come over here and say I'm not going to have no ads on no business, that would be dumb of me. That would be ignorant of me. And that would be selfish to my family, because if I'm giving you hours, I give you an hour and 15 minutes. This an hour and 15 minutes, I could have been talking to my wife. I could have been talking to my sons, but I'm talking to you. So this right here, that's selfish of me not to even have ads on this video. But I'm having no ads on this video for your sake so that you don't have to be interrupted on the message. Because this is a very important message. The other message where I'm answering emails and all of that, it's not as kingdom business. It's not as important. So it's advertisements on there. You know why? Because if I'm going to take time from my family, I need to make sure that the time that I'm taking from my family is going to put food on their table. And a lot of people are so ignorant that they don't even understand that if anybody giving their time, they deserve to be paid regardless of what they talking about. If you benefiting from their message, then that person deserve to be paid because that's their time, and they can't get that time back on their deathbed. We can't redeem this time. When we ready to go, we can't say, God, can you give me the thousands of hours back? I done coached 1,000 clients. And some of them clients I done coached multiple times. So Lord, I done gave like 4,000 hours. Can you give me those 4,000 hours back, Lord? On my last day on this earth. Do you think I'm going to be able to ask God that? No. When it's your time to go, it's your time to go. And all of the time that was given, it's irredeemable. So listen to me. If I do 7 hours a week on YouTube, and if I do this till I'm 65 years old, I might be tired at 65. So if I've been doing this from 35 to 60, that's 30 years, right? 30 years, okay? 30 years. Times 52. That's 1,560 weeks. If I take 1,560 weeks, if I take on average, I give 7 hours a week to YouTube. Times 7. That's 10,920 hours that I will have given YouTube over 30 years. If I divide that by 24, that's 455 days. If I subtract 365 from that, that's 1 year and 90 days. On your granddaddy or your grandmother or your mother, anybody that you've lost, on the day that they died, what would it have meant to you or to them if they could have asked God, can you give me back? Can you give me a year and 90 more days to live so that I could do everything that I have not done, so that I could redeem all of that time? And that's how ignorant and selfish our world is that we want to benefit from the pain, from the mistakes, from the message, from the struggles of other people, and we want those people to not be compensated as if their time will be redeemable on their deathbed. That's self-hate. That's when you hate yourself. If I'm going to watch somebody's videos, I'm happy if an ad come on. Because if I'm growing or learning or being entertained by this person's video, and that's because I understand it. But see, a lot of times people don't understand if you don't do it. That's why I stop judging people for what they do. Because I say, you know what? If I was in their position, I don't know what I'll do. And that's why with these men who beating up on black women online, instead of me just beating up on them, that's why I'm taking the time to explain to you where they suffering from and why they doing it. So instead of just judging them, I'm helping you understand that the reason he is doing this, these men, I'm saying he, I'm not talking about one person. These men, the reason why he is doing this is because he hates himself. He's angry with himself. He's upset with his life. He's believed the narrative that has been given to him about himself. I got to go. It's 1 o'clock. I just talked an hour and 20 minutes on this video. I got to hang up this call and call my client right now. And my client won't even know that I just been talking an hour and 20 minutes to y'all. And then I'm finna serve another hour for them. And that's what I want y'all to understand. For all the naysayers, for all the haters, for the people out there who sometimes you just don't understand what a servant really look like. And I realized that, yeah, people say, oh, you shouldn't tell what you're doing. You shouldn't show what you're giving. But our world is show and tell. So a lot of times we give people credit for something that they showed us, and what they showed us was fake. And then the real get overlooked because we don't show it. So we get looked at like we don't give and we don't do nothing because we don't show it. And the people get credit for being a philanthropist and they showing everything they give. You see what I mean? Hey, God bless you. I got to go. We'll talk soon.